Hello, once again, I'm Yukihiro Kashima, the CFO. Let me start by providing an overview of the financial results briefing for the second quarter of the fiscal year ending November 2026. Here's today's agenda. Let's dive into the executive summary. First, the net sales for the second quarter of the fiscal year ending November 2026 amounted to 1,385 million yen. This is a record high, with a growth rate of 36.8% year-on-year, also marking a record in terms of growth rate. Primarily, our main services such as Note, Note Pro, and corporate services have been performing steadily, achieving high growth rates. Additionally, profits have surged significantly. Looking at adjusted EBITDA, it is 328 million yen. This represents an 890% increase year-on-year, approximately tenfold. Operating profit is 303 million yen, with a year-on-year increase of approximately 1,570%, marking a jump of approximately 16 to 17 times. This is due to the Note business having a high marginal profit ratio model and the significant improvement in our productivity through AI utilization, leading to a substantial increase in profitability. In the middle section, considering the strong performance of each business, we have decided to make an upward revision to the figures announced at the beginning of the fiscal year. With significant net sales growth and cost control through active AI utilization, we have revised net sales upwards and made a substantial upward revision in profits. Moving on to the topics, today Takayuki Fukatsu, who is also present, has been appointed as the CSO, Chief Strategy Officer. Alongside this, we have announced the growth strategy for Note in the AI era. Takayuki Fukatsu will discuss this further later. And finally, we have started a proof of concept for a development platform supporting the gamification of story IPs related to our IP business, Tails. The background is the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI's IP360 support project aimed at boosting Japan's IP industry. We applied for this and have been selected. That's all for the executive summary. Here are the specific figures. First, the second column from the left. These are the figures for the second quarter, with net sales at 1,613,800,000 yen. Gross profit is 1.229 billion yen. Both net sales and gross profit have recorded very high growth, exceeding 30% year-on-year. Furthermore, profit items after adjusted EBITDA have seen even greater jumps. As mentioned earlier, adjusted EBITDA is 328 million yen, operating profit is 303 million yen, ordinary profit is 298 million yen, and net profit is 369 million yen. All of these have increased by 10 times or more, which is a significant feature. Next, the black column in the middle represents the cumulative figures for the second quarter. Even when combined with the first quarter, the cumulative growth rate year-on-year is 10-fold to 20-fold, showing a significant increase in figures. The two columns on the right show the progress rate against the initial forecast announced in January, with profit progress rates exceeding 70%, indicating very smooth progress, even though we are only halfway through the second quarter. Based on this, we have announced an upward revision today. First, let's look at the quarterly net sales graph. We have reached a record high of 1.385 billion yen. And on the right side, you can see the year-on-year growth rates for each quarter. You can see that the growth rate is steadily increasing. And this time, mainly in the AI-related business. We have a business under the framework called Geniac, which has significantly contributed to this quarter's net sales compared to the last. Even excluding this, our net sales growth rate is 28.3%, outperforming last year's full-year growth of 25%, indicating sustained high growth. Based on this, you can see in this chart that profits have also significantly increased each quarter. Individually, as I mentioned earlier, some areas have grown tenfold or even more. This review shows that we are generating substantial profits. We believe there are three main factors behind this profit growth. First, regarding the slide titled Background of Profit Growth 1, let me talk about Note. We operate our business based on this growth model. Creators, content, and readers gather, leading to sharing, increased recognition, and more content transactions on Note, all of which are growing due to network effects. Additionally, with the recent trend and support from generative AI, this AI trend has become a strong tailwind for our company. Specifically, the growth rates for creators and content gathering are 38.7% and 39.2%, respectively, nearly 40%. This AI trend is attracting more people and content to Note. This natural increase in readers and content sales is one of the reasons behind our high growth rate. Secondly, Note is a platform business with a very high marginal profit ratio. This platform business takes a considerable amount of time to generate profits. In fact, we were operating at a loss until 2 or 3 years ago. But once we surpassed that high break-even point, our business model, with its high marginal profit ratio, means that fixed costs don't rise significantly with sales increases. Now that we've surpassed the break-even point, sales growth directly translates to profit growth. Specifically, when you look at this waterfall chart, this is the first quarter of 2026. This is a comparison with the previous quarter, and as for net sales growth, 970 million yen, and you can see that the costs on the right side have hardly increased. Therefore, our high marginal profit ratio business model is another reason for the significant profit growth. Thirdly, from an organizational perspective, our company is very AI-driven in its operations and management. Specifically, in terms of tools, we provide cloud access to all employees, including non-engineers, to streamline various tasks. For engineers, we provide even more specialized tools, and beyond tools, we also offer various AI-related training and activities, such as club activities, to share know-how. These efforts contribute to the overall efficiency of the company. As a result, despite the increase in net sales, our workforce has not increased or has slightly decreased, which is a key factor contributing to profit expansion. Of course, we've also shortened the lead time for development, and although we're still in the process, we aim to build a system that allows us to rapidly launch new services one after another. Based on our current strong performance, we are announcing an upward revision today. Specifically, if you look at the black column, we've updated the figures for both net sales and profit. First, regarding net sales, the new target is 5.65 billion yen, which is an increase of 50 million yen, and the gross profit is up by 100 million yen. Moving on to profit items, the new full-year target for adjusted EBITDA is 1.22 billion yen, and operating profit is 1.1 billion yen. Ordinary profit is 1.13 billion yen, and net profit for the period is 1.2 billion yen. Both of these figures are about 1.5 times higher than our initial forecast from 6 months ago. This was also part of our original plan at the beginning of the fiscal year. He didn't particularly set conservative targets, but the growth of Note and advancements in AI have exceeded expectations. That's why we've revised the figures this time. The factors are listed on the right side, so please take a look there. Based on this, we've mapped and graphed the progress rate against the new revised full-year earnings forecast. Regarding last year's progress, the net sales progress rate is about the same, and since our second half tends to have slightly higher net sales, we believe we can achieve this net sales target. As for the profit on the right, adjusted EBITDA, last year's first half profit wasn't very large, but this second half, the first quarter is at 21%, and the second quarter at 27%. So we've already achieved nearly 50% profit as adjusted EBITDA. We believe today's profit plan is very achievable. Next, I'd like to review the KPIs for each business. I've already mentioned the net sales trends and adjusted EBITDA, so I won't go into each one, but you can see that the EBITDA margin and profit rate are steadily increasing, and after surpassing the break-even point, the high profitability is raising the EBITDA margin. And then the breakdown. All businesses are growing, but the notable feature this quarter is the Note. Note Pro Fa Rin Sankesa Bisu, and above that, the AI business on the right. This mainly consists of revenue from the GENIAC project, a national project related to NEDO and the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, MeTI, which we're currently working on. In the second quarter, net sales here reached 85 million yen, a significant jump from 14 million yen in the first quarter. This sharp increase is a defining feature of the second quarter. However, all other businesses are also growing. Here's the breakdown of costs. The breakdown has changed slightly due to the new growth in the AI-related business. The total is 1.057 billion yen, which at first glance appears to be a jump of about 90 million yen compared to the previous quarter, the first quarter. However, due to the nature of the project, the cost of sales, specifically the second from the bottom on the right, AI-related business, is almost equal to the revenue at this stage, with costs recorded at approximately 79 million yen. Excluding this, the cost is approximately 980 million yen, which is the cost excluding that for last year. The second quarter of last year was 980 million yen, so despite the business growing significantly, the cost has not increased, which is a notable feature. Yes, and here we have a plot of the changes in personnel numbers. As I mentioned earlier, there is a gradual decline, but when viewed quarterly, there is a slight increase from the first to the second quarter. There is an increase of 4 people. Our company hasn't forcibly reduced staff. This change is more natural. With the use of AI, we've achieved significant operational efficiency and leverage, allowing us to realize substantial net sales growth, even with this number of personnel. Therefore, overall, our hiring policy is not to forcibly limit recruitment, but to welcome talented individuals through selective hiring. With selective hiring and AI utilization, the net sales to personnel expenses ratio continues to decrease. Next, here's a plot of the GMV, gross merchandise value, for the Note business. The second quarter is 6.48 billion yen, which is the total for 3 months. Dividing this by 3 gives approximately 2.1 to 2.2 billion yen per month as the total GMV, gross merchandise value, of content transactions currently on Note. This has also grown by nearly 25% year-on-year, despite the high hurdle of last year's growth, indicating that the Note business is performing very well. Next, here is a breakdown of the GMV, gross merchandise value, into subscribers and ARP. Looking at this graph, both subscribers and ARP have increased in the recent second quarter. In the mid to long term, the ARPPU is mostly around 2,600 to 2,700 yen, while the number of subscribers has been gradually increasing, with currently 775,000 people purchasing Note per month. This is a unique figure. I believe this is still quite small, considering Note's number of user accounts is around 12 million and MAU is 80 to 90 million. Only a portion of people are purchasing Note. Conversely, most people are still enjoying Note for free. We believe that Note will become an infrastructure for everyone to enjoy, including the number of subscribers, and this is where we see significant growth potential for the Note business. Yes, other KPIs. Number of user accounts, amount of published content, and cumulative number of unique creators. These are cumulative figures for each quarter. The answer is that all of them are growing, with number of user accounts surpassing 12 million. Content has reached 82 million, with a year-on-year increase of 40%. Cumulative number of unique creators. There are 2.4 million creators posting on Note, with a year-on-year growth of 38%. The growth in unique creators and content is particularly notable recently. We'll skip this part and move on to Note Pro. Regarding Note Pro, the annual recurring revenue for the second quarter is 773 million yen. This represents a year-on-year growth of 26.4%. Looking at this graph, you might think the ARR hasn't grown much since last year's fourth quarter and appears flat. But regarding the second quarter, we have also conducted large-scale sales and promotional campaigns. The campaign offers Note Pro at a significant discount for contracts made during this period. As for the number of contracts, the second quarter saw a substantial increase from 993 to 1,133, a rise of 140 contracts compared to the previous quarter 3 months ago. So the reason why ARR hasn't increased is that the net sales contribution from those who joined during the discount period is not reflected in this quarter. As a result, while ARR hasn't grown, the number of subscribers has increased. And this is, you see, this is a trend that occurred last year as well, but the new subscribers who joined this time are expected to return to the regular price after the discount period ends, starting from the third quarter. That's right. Then, just like last year, from the third to the fourth quarter, we can expect a significant jump in ARR. So, while it may seem flat at first glance, the contracts are actually building up very smoothly. Yes. Next, the balance sheet. This has also changed significantly compared to the end of November last year. First, since the end of November last year, we've had 2 major public offerings. Not public offerings, I apologize. We have increased capital. In December, we received capital increases and a capital and business alliance from South Korea's Naver Corporation, and in April from Japan's largest publishing company, Kadokawa. Together, these amount to over 4 billion yen that our company has newly raised, which is reflected in our cash and deposits, and also added to our shareholders' equity. So not only has that grown significantly, but the fact that our business is highly profitable and our profits are increasing is also reflected in our equity ratio. Additionally, due to the funds raised this time, we have repaid our borrowings and liabilities. At the beginning of the term, we had 680 million yen in borrowings, but we have fully repaid it, so it no longer appears on the balance sheet, and our equity ratio has significantly increased. Yes, this is my last slide, and in the second quarter, we have undertaken very significant initiatives. We have rapidly released various partnerships, projects, and developments. The initiatives for Note are accelerating rapidly. In the next section, we'll discuss the growth strategy for Note in the AI era. CEO Sadaki Kato will explain, and some of the items listed here will be explained later. All right, that concludes my explanation, and I'd like to hand it over to Sadaki Kato.
Once again, this is Sadaki Kato. From here, I'd like to discuss the growth strategy for Note in the AI era and our future strategies. First, let's confirm the current status. Note has become one of the largest platforms in Japan. Currently, our monthly active users exceed 90 million, and our page views are also increasing. Page views have increased 1.4 times compared to the same period last year, and the number of visitors continues to grow. On the right side, there's a ranking of website access in Japan, and as you can see, among major sites like Google, Yahoo, and YouTube, we are ranked 13th, making us one of the largest media platform businesses in Japan. There's another important point. Note is frequently cited by AI, and people come from there. What this means is, according to a private company survey, Note is cited by AI as a reliable source of information more than most other sites. The survey results show that YouTube is first, and Note is second in terms of citations. What this means is, as those who have used AI would know, AI itself searches the internet and websites. It searches and presents information like, here's this information within AI responses. Note is frequently cited, as shown by these Note numbers. Wikipedia also ranks highly, which shows that Note is a very prominent reference source. Incidentally, writing on Note means it will be seen by AI. Another point is on the right side. Not only does it appear in AI, but people actually click and visit the main site, as shown on the right. Have you heard of the term zero-click issue? Various media sites are referenced by AI but don't receive traffic. People view them within AI and don't visit the actual site, which is becoming a problem. However, in the case of Note, research shows that the expected inflow is about twice as high as other sites. So it's currently a place that's easily referenced and attracts people. And this isn't by chance. It's the result of our preparations. As shown in the diagram Kashima presented earlier, growth is accelerating due to network effects. Of course, generative AI contributes to acceleration, and the increase in scale further accelerates growth. I believe we're currently at a point of significant acceleration. We are currently confirming that we have gained an advantage in the AI era by being easily referenced by AI and attracting people. So, moving on. From here, to further accelerate growth, we announced earlier that Takayuki Fukatsu, our CXO, will be appointed as CSO. Takayuki Fukatsu has been instrumental in designing Note's growth model, mission, vision, and values. And in just 2 years of participation, Note's MAU has grown 7-fold, driving significant growth. And moving on, in addition to transitioning to Note.com and partnering with external companies, Fukatsu has been actively involved in strategic roles and has now been appointed as CSO, Chief Strategy Officer, in line with these responsibilities. Takayuki Fukatsu, could you please join us now? And here he is now. Nice to meet you. Takayuki Fukatsu is actually one of Japan's leading AI experts, often invited to speak at government agencies, and has been leading Note's AI strategy. As CSO, we hope to strengthen these strategic aspects and enhance the overall ecosystem strategy. Could you say a few words?
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Originally, within Note, I focus on designing the overall structure from a user perspective, ensuring people would use, read, and write on the platform, and translating that into a concrete service. As Note grew, I expanded beyond that to design the entire ecosystem, involving partners and engaging in broader discussions. Through these activities, both inside and outside Note, I've contributed by leveraging various insights, including generative AI promotion. This time, previously, as CXO, my role was focused on experience, but it has shifted significantly towards strategy design. I felt this was a good opportunity to change my position. I look forward to your continued support.
From here, the two of us will discuss how Note will become the content distribution infrastructure in the AI era. Specifically, Note has been a media platform business for creators, essentially a standalone website. Moving forward, we aim to become the content distribution infrastructure in the AI era. Could you explain this a bit more?
Simply put, until now, it has been a platform as a single posting website. However, as data accumulates, Note becomes one of the top places for Japanese language aggregation and AI references. We aim to position ourselves within the overall content flow, involving not just Note, but also those around it, to create a network that can survive in the AI era. We are moving beyond a single posting site to become a larger content distribution infrastructure.
I believe the keywords that explain this are AI, business, creativity, data, and ecosystem. The details are on the next slide, so let's have Takayuki Fukatsu explain this as well.
Originally, Note's mission is to enable everyone to start creating and continue doing so. It's not just about posting content, it's about ensuring content can be posted, read, turned into business, generate income, and support livelihoods. Designing a healthy ecosystem is the key focus. In response to this, as the creative and content parts of creators that Note traditionally held are greatly expanding due to AI, we are supporting the business aspect of creators' outlets, not only through the sale of existing content or subscriptions, but also by Note itself, investing in content businesses or starting new ventures. And in the AI era, the basic idea is to further expand the ecosystem by balancing the elements of AI, business, creative, and data, such as how to handle data sets that become the most valuable assets, how to return value to creators, and how to engage with big tech.
Yes, that's right. The main point is to further strengthen what we've been doing with AI.
The growth diagram for Note that we originally created was actually made about 9 years ago, but its foundational design is timeless, so I believe it is still applicable today. However, with the emergence of AI, the flow of distribution, money, and data in society has changed significantly. So while maintaining this basic model, we need to actively apply AI to each part, use data to accelerate it, and assist the increase of content with AI. Overall, Note continues to focus not just on individual metrics, but on whether the whole is connected and circulating like a network. The basic idea is to support the ecosystem by making sure the lifeblood flows smoothly through its veins, keeping the whole system circulating.
That's right. This diagram was created together 9 years ago, and it has proven to be very durable over the years.
We still use this to monitor our KPIs.
Yes, right? That's what we do. We've explained this many times, but it's not just about increasing each individual number. It's about ensuring that everything is connected and growing, checking if there are any breaks or if something is growing too much, and we've been expanding the service with these considerations.
Simply put, the number of creators is the number of creators, and the increase in content is the amount of published content. But what we actually focus on is the arrows in between. We regularly track whether the increase in creators truly leads to an increase in the amount of published content, and whether the increase in the amount of published content truly leads to an increase in the number of subscribers, ensuring that the numbers at the front and back are properly connected. That's right. Rather than just inflating a single number, Note's approach is to create smoothness that eliminates bottlenecks in distribution.
AI has been very helpful in this regard, And for example, the AI context network that Yukihiro Kashima briefly introduced earlier can support the increase in content where creators gather. We'll explain this in more detail later.
For example, while most people focus on using generative AI just to create content, our approach is more like having a 24-hour health checkup system that constantly monitors everything. We can use it to monitor the flow 24 hours a day and immediately say this is dangerous and fix it when the flow is blocked. Exactly. Rather than just using generative AI to make content, it's about keeping the veins of this ecosystem circulating. Just like blood pressure shouldn't be too low or too high, we hope to use AI to maintain continuous circulation within a healthy range.
Yes. We'll come back to the topic of generative AI, so for now, let's move on to the next slide. Here, we're explaining what Note aims to achieve by promoting AI, and it's consistent with what creators have been trying to do from the beginning, but we want to advance it further. We want to further promote the idea that creators should be rewarded just for creating. We'll introduce the AI context network later, as well as recommendations and translations, so that just by writing on Note, many people can see it, and something good can happen. Of course, there's money involved, but beyond that, it's great if people can see it, have conversations, write reviews, and more. The same goes for companies. We consider companies as creators too, and by using Note, they can meet customers, build their branding, and recruit. I want to do things that directly lead to revenue, and there's one more final point. Could you explain this, Yukihiro Kashima? The company is currently undergoing a complete overhaul with AI.
That's right. Originally, I was helping not just Note Inc., but various companies with AI and DX promotion, so we're figuring out how to use AI within Note Inc. It's not just about development. It also includes the back office, strategy and management, PR, creator support, and really every area, how to use generative AI across all of them. We're trying to separate the areas where AI excels from those where it doesn't, and incorporate only the strengths into Note.
That's right. Earlier, we talked about how everyone at Yukihiro Kashima can now use the cloud. But actually, it's not just about making work easier with a convenient tool. We're fundamentally changing the workflow itself, and I hope to share more details about this soon. We're really working to make the entire operation much more efficient.
We're thinking about how to increase productivity with AI without raising the cost of AI.
Let's move on to the next topic. Note's mission itself hasn't changed. We've been a company dedicated to enabling everyone to continue their creative activities, and will continue to do so. At this stage, generative AI as a powerful tool is helping us promote this even further. From here, let's talk about specific initiatives. We've been working on a variety of projects, and all of them are tied to the ABCD we mentioned earlier. These are all connected, and I hope to explain this in more detail moving forward. I've mentioned the AI context network a few times, so let's go into more detail here. What should we do here? Shall we have Takayuki Fukatsu explain it?
That's right. This is a somewhat complex concept, and the actual results are more like sowing seeds for the future. Currently, within Note, there's a variety of content, whether it's Pokemon, Gundam, Doraemon, or anything else. When there's great content, reviews, analyses, and support content gather around it.
For example, right now, there are tons of reviews for the new Toy Story movie.
Last year, there were also a lot of Are the Movie Kokuho, National Treasure. As these kinds of texts accumulate, Note is able to stock contextual data related to content, such as which genres are gaining popularity, or what opinions are gathering around certain genres. By leveraging this, Note is gradually able to serve as a kind of pseudo-portal for each piece of content. That's the idea behind this concept. To put it simply, it's like having a .com where all Gundam fan information gathers, or a .com where all Doraemon information gathers.
Let's bring it up on the screen.
Let's have them switch the screen. Various specialized portal pages for reviews have already been created. This is made by fully utilizing AI. A lot of reviews are posted by everyone, and based on that, we have a system that generates such pages. Please wait while the screen changes.
And here we have, yes, Yuto Shongdi.
Space Brothers. Space Brothers has just completed its series, but as you can see, articles about Space Brothers are not just gathered here. If you look at the top, you can directly purchase the Space Brothers comics. And in the long term, you might be able to watch movies or buy tickets from here.
You can buy movie tickets. That's right.
Not only is the content information aggregated, but you can also reserve or purchase the content itself from there. Additionally, analysis articles, reaction articles, and note articles can emerge, creating a comprehensive information hub.
Yes, currently there are about 2,500 pieces of writing related to Space Brothers, including official messages and reader reviews. A significant number has already been collected, and these pages are automatically generated not just for Space Brothers, but for all kinds of content.
Experiences are aggregated under various hashtags and automatically categorized.
Yes, this is generated not just for content, but for any keyword like Vietnam travel, for example, using generative AI.
So, when thinking in the mid to long term, Wikipedia is a repository of knowledge, but it could evolve into something like a Wikipedia for experiences. For example, when traveling, you could search for the hashtag Vietnam travel on Note, and you'd find out how to travel to Vietnam, read everyone's impressions, and ultimately even book a Vietnam tour. It's a concept aiming to be a gateway for all kinds of experiences and actions.
Pages can be automatically created with various keywords, and by partnering with companies, we can enhance promotions and new support, like concert bookings, as Takayuki Fukatsu mentioned earlier, and create various pathways. Another major point is that as this happens, it will generate revenue. So, of course, I believe we'll be able to give back to all the creators as well. I believe that simply writing impressions can lead to increased net sales, and this is a major point.
It's a future goal.
Another point is that while humans read these pages, AI also reads them.
So, AI will come to research here, and from our perspective, AI is also a kind of note user. We aim for Note to provide clues for AI to learn and answer various things appropriately. Regarding this, basically, as more articles are written, it will naturally grow, and if companies join in, it will lead to more opportunities like selling games, tickets, and movies. We welcome content holders and those involved in distribution interested in collaborating to contact us.
Okay, Max.
Let's move on.
Yes? Now, this is the latest on the recommendation engine using generative AI. It actually precedes the AI context network, enabling its realization. Before the recommendation engine, we were actually classifying content in great detail. This has been going on for over 5 years with Takayuki Fukatsu and me.
That's right.
We've been discussing how to create a classification system, and LLM has made this completely possible. By classifying and tagging in detail, we can provide very precise recommendations to users and create new systems like the AI context network mentioned earlier.
That's right. We've always struggled with the recommendation engine and categorization, but in the past, categories were one-to-one with parent and child categories. So, if something was categorized as manga, it couldn't be categorized as sci-fi, making it difficult to handle sci-fi manga.
Classification is always a challenging task, but now automation is quite effective. We have 4,000 basic tags, and they can establish parent-child relationships. Additionally, signals like Claude codes can be tagged and classified, allowing them to be properly managed under AI. This allows for very detailed and accurate classification, enabling the recommendation engine and the creation of AI-like systems. The power of LLM is indeed significant.
I've been hearing more about people finding articles they like through notes matching, which is a result of the practical implementation of the recommendation engine.
The numbers here show that impressions are increasing by 5 or 4 times, leading to more page views and expansion within Note, which I believe will greatly benefit creators.
If this area is solidified, it will also contribute to AI spam countermeasures and related aspects.
I think many are interested in AI spam countermeasures, and this will be a strong countermeasure against the numerous articles AI creates and posts. We can respond intelligently.
We can classify and evaluate article content to identify if it seems generative AI generated, empty, or if many people are repeating the same general ideas.
To be specific, Note currently has about 3 million articles posted monthly, and it's steadily increasing. And this system classifies them the moment they are posted. So what Takayuki Fukatsu just mentioned is now possible. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, natural language automatic multilingual support.
I think this is one of the experiments aimed at going global, and by using language models, we can now see the possibility of globally sharing articles that were previously only on Note. This is still a proof of concept experiment, and while we haven't made a timely disclosure of specific traffic data, things are looking promising.
Things are looking promising. We're not translating everything yet, but we're progressing by translating parts. Content in areas where Japan is strong, like games and anime, is definitely being read thoroughly. I believe you'll see that there's significant potential for growth as we continue to expand this further. All right, the new feature, question box. This might be a minor topic, but Takayuki Fukatsu, could you explain this a bit?
This is one of the experiments. The question box is positioned as a sub-feature to allow Note creators to easily create interactions and communicate with users, making it a casual interaction tool. Another aspect of this is experimenting with the AI era. The concept of vibe coding using generative AI to rapidly create services is being whispered about. So we wondered if it's actually possible. We formed a volunteer team within Note to quickly create prototypes using vibe coding and then refine them, launching a project to see if experimental ultra-fast development is achievable. In fact, the initial prototype started from a 1 or 2 day time frame.
That's right. We tried releasing new features quite quickly, and this was the first case of properly providing new features. Moving forward, we want to further enhance development and create various things.
Our future goal is to conduct several mini projects to gather such experiences and establish solid know-how for rapid implementation and prototyping within Note. This is the first step towards that goal.
Let me talk about this. We've been running the Creative Award, and this year marks the 5th time. The deadline is tomorrow, I believe, and last time we had quite a lot. We received around 70,000 submissions, and this year I think we'll have even more, possibly double the number of entries. Many media outlets participate, allowing Note users to debut from there. It's one of Japan's largest contests. Defining largest is tricky, so we say one of Japan's largest, but it's probably the largest. Many works have been published or adapted into films from here, and we want to make this contest even bigger to create opportunities for creators. All right, now regarding corporations. Next. Regarding business initiatives, we'll continue to expand things like Note Pro and contests we've been doing. Additionally, there's the AI Context Network. As I mentioned earlier, we plan to provide data and revenue to various companies from there in the future. Here's a specific example. We're working with national clients and various partners on contests. Recently, we've improved the writing plan where you don't have to update your note yourself and it gets updated properly. So many are using this. About our partnership with Google. We talk about this quite often, but I'm always unsure how much detail to share. Takayuki Fukatsu, What do you think?
Originally, I think we received investment a few years ago, but our relationship started much earlier. We collaborated on Google's Pixel phone promotion, and I've been a judge for Google Cloud contests about 4 times over the years. We've maintained a good relationship behind the scenes, and generative AI has accelerated that.
That's right. We still have regular meetings to discuss how to proceed with various products. Sorry, but we'll continue doing various things in the future, so please look forward to it. Nonetheless, I think I can report that things are going well. Hi. Next is Geniac. Earlier, Kashima mentioned that it's also reflected in the net sales, and this too. Things are progressing smoothly. Recently, we announced that Shoeisha has joined as a new partner, and we're advancing discussions with various media outlets. Development is also progressing smoothly, so we hope to announce more updates as they come. As I mentioned earlier, this isn't just about content within Note. It's about becoming a major distribution infrastructure for content. This is one of our products, and we're looking to expand overall by doing things like this. All right, changing the topic a bit, let's talk about Tails & Co. Tails & Cowers is a company dedicated to creative development and expansion of IP by Note itself. It's a company that discovers and publishes original works, collaborating with various media to create new ways of production. Specifically, since last time, we've been doing various new things. We've partnered with Hoshino Resorts. We're responsible for the content, such as scenarios and original works, for experiential stories. Additionally, we've launched 2 serialized manga projects, which were developed in collaboration with the editorial team of Monthly Shonen magazine, based on ideas submitted by registered creators at Note and Tails & Co. Yes, and one more thing here. As Kashi mentioned earlier, there is the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI's IP360 Content Industry Support Project. We have proposed a development platform for turning story IPs into games, and it has been accepted. Regarding this, we'll proceed based on this, and once we have more details, we'll share them. We aim to create a new system for game development utilizing generative AI. Since we can create original works, we're considering new outlets for these creations. This is all part of the AI business creator data discussion, but it's hard to put into words. For long-term discontinuous growth, M&A and collaboration with various external companies are crucial, and we'll continue to pursue these. We'll be working on this together with Fukatsu, so we appreciate your support.
To create a massive ecosystem across Japan, it's impossible for Note alone to achieve this. We aim to network and collaborate with various companies to enhance Japan's IP and eventually take it overseas with everyone's cooperation.
That's right, we don't necessarily have to do everything ourselves. Our goal is to provide the best solutions for creators, customers, and companies.
My belief is that a healthy ecosystem allows participating companies to freely pursue their interests and profit independently instead of competing over content or dividing the pie. Platformers should focus on expanding the pie. We want to strive in that direction.
So this is the summary slide highlighting Note's strengths. Note.com is our main business, but we're also expanding NotePro's corporate services. With AI as the backdrop, we're working on IP projects and collaborating with various companies to expand the ecosystem. This is our growth vision. We've been growing Note, NotePro, AI, and IP, and we plan to further expand through M&A for more discontinuous growth. As stock prices improve, these opportunities become more feasible, and we aim for discontinuous growth. Our mid to long-term target is financial, and there have been no changes since the initial announcement. For the past few years, we've set our financial targets at 10 billion yen in consolidated revenue and an EBITDA margin of 30% to 40%. This too, right? We've set clear goals for this, and we're breaking them down into actionable steps that we're now implementing. We hope you'll continue to support us. And finally, as we always mention at the end, Note's vision remains completely unchanged. We're working to create a city on the internet for creators, and we've declared our intention to become an infrastructure, which is an extension of this mission. So we're staying true to our mission. We have a mission to enable everyone to start and continue creating, and as a result of that, we believe we've come this far, so we hope for your continued support. Now, I'll hand it over to Kashima. Thank you.
Yes. Now, I'd like to briefly touch on the latest stock information and IR activities. First, this graph shows the shareholder status as of the end of May. We are also implementing the shareholder benefit program. We continue to actively engage in IR activities. This term, Note was selected for the JPX Startup 100, and we continue to actively participate in briefings for individual investors. This month, I will also be presenting at the Shonan Investment Study Group, where I will explain the summary of financial results for the second quarter. And then there's the IR commentary article. As for today, we will also be uploading the summary of financial results of today's announcement, so please take a look at that as well. In addition to our IR site, we also publish on X IR Note and sponsored reports, so please check those out as well. Yes, we are also actively sharing information. Our IR Note magazine continues to have participation from many listed companies, with nearly 150 companies involved and a growing number of followers, so we would appreciate it if you could follow us. Yes, that concludes our presentation.